Can we start? Okay. One of the things that I do endlessly is what I now have a name for. It's going through the cards. It's a little bit like playing solitaire with yourself. And what I'm doing is I'm going through the deck saying, did I do this right? And the most recent example was buying the house. So I decided I was going to move, so I went down and I met with a realtor once a week, and every week we bought a house, and every week the deal came undone. And I said, that's fine, I wasn't supposed to buy that house. And the next week we'd look at 10 or 15 houses, and I'd buy one, we'd make out the paperwork, and I'd go back, it would dissolve in the interim, I'd go back the next week, we'd buy another house! And I didn't mean to buy a house every week, it's just that I would look at the choices and say, this one fits my list. I have a list. I have critical priority items, and when you put them all together, it's very complicated. I can't say what I want versus what I don't want. So the house I bought that got almost to inspection, or through inspection, had a pool, and that was the last thing on my list that I wanted. I kept telling the realtors, don't show it to me if it has a pool. I don't want a pool. So he shows me this house with a pool. I fall in love with it. It's the right price, yada, yada, yada. So I make an offer, and it goes through inspection, and it fails because they won't renegotiate $10,000 worth of roof repair. So then I lose my house with the pool. And what I found was that I lost my pool, which a week and a half ago I didn't even want. And I had psyched myself into having friends over and swimming in the pool and getting up and justifying the cost by using it as my gym membership every morning, getting up, and I had visions of being around the pool, and then I didn't have a pool. And it took me days to get over not having a pool. So then I go down 2 days early this time, like Thursdays aren't a good day, we'll go down on Tuesday, and we buy another house. And this house is working, this house is sailing through. So now that I'm on the down slope of buying the house, and I've been pushing to move and to see houses and to go through the research and try to figure out what I want and how many rooms and what placement, and you go in and say the energy's not right, which is a very everybody does it, but not everybody is quite so vocal about it. And you walk in the house and say, doesn't work, the energy doesn't work. And you walk out and the guy says, but, no, energy doesn't work. So on the downslope, now that it's all bought and it should close on this Friday, now I'm doing the rehearse the deck syndrome, the solitaire. What houses didn't I look at? Well, how many choices were there? What if God just got tired of listening and decided that, give it to her. We have other things to do. There are more important things. Give her the damn house. Do you know how often she talks to me? I have other people to take care of. How many did I not see? I had 3 rooms. What if I needed 4? If I need 4 rooms, did I need 5? It's just endless, absolutely endless. And you play them again and again, saying, did I do the right thing? Did I buy too soon? It never ends. It's like in your spare time, you just deal the cards. That's the dialogue that goes on in my own head. Constantly ripping things apart and putting them back together, looking for the fatal flaw that I hadn't seen before. In terms of relationships to others, I had a beaut with my mom the other day. Mom is now a widow, a 75-year-old widow, poor baby. And she's never had to deal with life on her own. She's married for 51, 52, 53 years. And she's coping desperately. She's like a little weeble. The weebles wobble, but they don't fall down, and she just goes careening through life, and we just, it'll be okay, Mom, we'll help, I guess we'll help. And she's so strong, and she's so fragile now. So I had to go over because I was going to show her pictures of the house that I had taken a roll. And so I got off to a late start, and I was hungry, and there was no place to eat on the way. There wasn't any food that I really wanted to eat, and I was not eating at Mom's. There's something off about Mom's house. It's like old lady house, and the food, I just didn't want to eat. So I'm desperately trying to figure out someplace I could pick up something decent, not fast food, and there was no place, which is why I'm moving out of LA. No place between here and Mom's to pick up something decent. So I arrive at Mom's and I haven't eaten, I'm hungry and I'm not eating. And I'm also not taking anything out of that house with me. I'm not doing that. So we go to the pictures and I show her the pictures and she gives her absolute approval because it's gorgeous and this and that. If only you do this and that. Yeah, Mom, yeah. Yeah, it's okay, yeah, yeah. No, I'm not leaving it white, Mom, we're painting. You can't paint. White makes it look so much bigger. The Mom stuff. And I'm going to be cool because I'm going to paint it purple. I don't care. I'm not living in a white house. And so she goes through that, but I get sign of approval from the pictures from Mom. And then she starts in with, is there anything you need? No, Mom, there's nothing I need. Now, I'm moving into an 1,800 square foot house out of a 1,000 square foot house that is lightly furnished to begin with. I need everything, but I don't want to start the process because she's trying to divest. Within 5 minutes, I have accepted a folding table that seats 24 people. It folds really small, but it's been sitting over to the side, and she doesn't use it anymore, and she treasures it because it's really pretty, and she loves it, and it would work so well, Jan. And see, and it folds out, it does this, and your father and I use it, and it folds all the way, and I'm thinking, fine, Mom, because she doesn't need it in her house, and it's so small. So we get that over with, 5 minutes, and I've got a 15 minutes, 24 table to seat 24 people. And then we go for, how about that magazine rack? And the magazine rack was like a post office box between me and my family because I never went there very often. And they would put Time magazine and Newsweek in there because I would never watch TV or read the newspapers, and they thought that was not healthy. So they would put their magazines there, and then they would bring them to me or I would pick them up. And since Dad died, it's like doesn't work anymore. So she wants me to take the post office, this magazine rack. So now I have the 24, I have the table that seats 24. And I have the magazine rack, and she heads for the bedroom. There's something else you want. I think, oh my God, I don't want my mother's stuff. I want to be nice to her, and I want to help, and I don't want her stuff. So we head for the bedroom. And she's got this beautiful little bookcase, adorable little antique, gorgeous, beautiful thing that matches my dresser. And she explains the whole thing, and she's going to move things, and she's going to sell books. And so now I have a bookcase and a table that seats 24 people and a post office box. And then she starts on 5 other items. She's got me going. I've said yes 3 times. She can do this. And she's saying, but I bought this cheap, but it was such a good deal, and it's an antique. Do you know how much this thing is worth? And she's leading me around the house trying to get me to pick up all the leftover things from her life that she can't give away to just anybody, but if I took them, it would be okay, and she could let them go. But I've taken 3, so I am able to say no. So the bookcase will come later. I walk out with half the table because it comes apart, and the post office box. And I get to the car and go, thank God, because I didn't eat. And you've got to go for small victories with my mother. And that's it's indicative of a lot of my relationships with people. I either become the 2 stories. I'm absolutely ruthless and determined, and I set out the parameters, and by God, we're going to shoot and bag and trap this house. Or it's you wind up with furniture you never even wanted. I can seat 24 people. I don't want 24 people in my house, but I can seat them. At least I can put food on the table for them. And it's a dichotomy that I go one way or I go the other. So I felt that the 2 examples really showed up my ego tricks, or my attempts at ego tricks. I think there's shadow in there from the ruthlessness and from the dogged determination and from the bulldog tenacity and from the fine, great, let's find another house. And then they give you one that's a totally different shape, totally different feeling. And after a while, it's like, which house did I buy? The one with the pool or the one with this or the one with the that? And I'm making decisions quickly, but they're good. I'm sure they're good decisions. I'm really sure they're good decisions, but they're so radically different. The joke was I had dated 3 times and been jilted, and I wasn't going to even get excited about this last house until escrow closed. Like, put the ring on my finger, then we'll be happy. And it's a really ferocious determination. And when I do that, I can stay centered, and I can keep to what I want instead of what all these other people want. Gee, it's cute. Gee, it's pretty. Gee, it's this. I don't know what I want, but if I'm strong about it, I can keep it. So those are my 2. When it comes to who am I hate to use the same example over and over again, but when I'm in motion, I'm fine. But when I slow down, I get really lost. The words confuse me. The theories get all mangled. It turns into mush. I don't know what I need. So I bring softness in my life. I bring ease. But I have to counterbalance that. I just have to counterbalance that with something that's finite and clear, countable. And then I can afford a certain amount of mush. I can handle a certain amount of mush. Am I on track?
Well, how are you in partnership with the opposite sex? What's your ego tricks there?
I have a real hard time even trying objectivity with that because I only have a 24-year marriage and a 6-month relationship. That's it. To any significant extent. And I'm so far away from the person I was when I was married that it's like another world. It's like another life. But in the 6-month relationship, I found that I have a tremendous difficulty confronting. It's my mom. It's like you'd never win anyway, so fighting was an exercise in futility. So I don't want to get into direct confrontation. I want to take care of things on the sidelines so that we never have to deal with direct questions. Because if somebody said, "What do you want to eat?" I don't have an answer. When do you want to eat? I don't know. Where do you want to eat? I don't know. So I tend to let other people make the decisions rather than admit that I feel like a New Age flake. Let me meditate on it. But I don't know. I don't know fast enough. I don't know in the normal time context. So I give in. And I hand over.
So normal time context is an ego trick. Because there's no normal time context for knowing when you need to eat. You just know when you know.
That's a nice theory. But when people say, "Do you want to eat?" they kind of expect a yes or a no.
But
They kind of expect that.
bypassing yourself there, maybe giving yourself as long as it takes to answer them.
Why do I see this as...
Because that's honoring your real self, your real basic needs.
And what I do is I basically say it's not that important. Let's try eating and see what happens. So I seldom eat when I'm hungry. I eat when it's time or it's in front of me. Or just in case I get hungry later, rather than waiting for the moment. And that would be the same for many things. What movie do you want to see? Where do you want to go? I just tend to be one of those people that lags behind on knowing. So that it's a passivity, but it's not a passivity. It's not capitulation. It's resignation. I can't get there fast enough. So you go ahead. I'll follow. I'll make the best I can out of it. I think that's the biggest failing between me and relationships with friends. And after a while, that builds an expectation in the other person. and now you've got to fight habit and a system that you've contributed to by not I just got lost.
So I have an exercise for you. To sit here and connect into some of your real needs in front of us, and to allow yourself all the time you need. To just connect with allowing yourself to even have needs in front of other people. And just feel into what need surfaces.
One of my needs is for physical affection. I love being in a body. I love being with other bodies. I don't know where I got it, but it's a dread of being clingy and infantile. It's feeling that there isn't enough affection in the world. There isn't enough affection in the universe to satisfy that level of need. So you certainly don't want to go there. You don't want to be dependent. You don't want to be clingy. So it's like having an artificial hanger inside to not let yourself collapse. And I have, relatively speaking, affectionate friends and a relatively affectionate family. And it's nowhere near enough. So it will burst out one day in a relationship, and I will have to deal with the fact that I dammed it up. So when it floods out, it'll be perhaps a little scary for somebody. And even with friends, I have a friend who has a roommate who he lets hug 6 times an evening. These are 2 guys. And he lets him hug him 6 times in an evening. And I thought, my God, I didn't know that could exist. You have a friend where you could walk up to him and say, hug me, I need it. And they would do it and not throw you out, or look for an exit, or find some place to be so that it doesn't happen again. It was a real revelation for me that this person could have not a close buddy or a dearest friend, but just a roommate that would say, I need a hug, and he'd give it to him. That it wasn't yeah, they're not damming it up. So there's nothing wrong with it. I just feel like I've already held on to so much in my life that I can't even eke it out, sneak it past people as normal. It's just very floody. That one's come up a lot lately. The need to be absolutely sure and not be able, not have words to back it up. And that's what the house is all about. As determined as I looked on the surface, I couldn't have done it with other people questioning me because I didn't have answers. It's like closing your eyes and doing Zen darts. I was really sure when it hit, but I had no way of knowing it would be sure. And so I go through the cards trying to figure it out, but that's logic, and this isn't logic. So what's the need in that? I had 3 or 4 people who were really concerned because I didn't show any joy about it. And I didn't know how to communicate. So I needed them to believe in me. And still not just rubber stamp me and say it's okay no matter what. What's that? That I've got it now, but in the past I haven't. I need friends who will not attempt to stop me, because that'll put me in defense. I'll just fight you. I like help, I like support, but I can't be stopped. On the other hand, I like strong support. Yeah, I can feel time pressure. I can feel not sure where the next one's going to be or where it's going to come from. It has something to do with sitting on the edge of the chair. It feels better to sit on the edge of the chair. It feels like I have 360 degrees to rotate in than being planked up. And I wanted to be free. I wanted to move easily, because some of the stuff is really subtle, and the presumption is I'll be able to see it on tape, and I'll be able to notice the pullbacks as well as the push forwards. And I want to see that. So I guess this has to do with firm support without stopping. It doesn't make me conform, but it keeps me from slumping up and collapsing. I've had a lot of trouble in groups before, because when I sense that something is it's like sensing there's a hole someplace. I feel energy like pictures of fog, only I can kinesthetically sense them. And they're holes sometimes. And sometimes there are outcrops. And the hole leads me to fill it. In a perfect world, if I filled that hole perfectly, it would be the kind of thing where all of a sudden in the middle of something you jump up and scream, and then just sit down and go on with things. There was a hole someplace that needed punctuation, and I feel those. And I'm afraid to fill them. I'm better at it than I ever used to be, but I can feel how long it takes me to even fill the hole, to do what needs to be done, because I'm afraid to be wrong. I'm afraid to be disruptive. I'm afraid to send people into their process. I'm afraid that it was ego or boredom or something I wasn't. You deal the deck. Am I bored? Am I tired? Am I hungry? Am I thirsty? Am I angry at this person? You deal all the cards. You don't have time to deal all those cards in the moment. You need to respond in the moment. So it's a personal need of mine. I can't figure it. I don't know if the need is, my ego says the need is to be sure, so I can go ahead and put total force into what I do. That's what the ego wants. The ego wants to be right. But what I want is to be real. And I need to take the hit when I'm wrong. I know right and wrong are, you can't get through the day without using some of these words. If somebody basically says that was inappropriate or didn't work because, so they're right, that's okay. But I need to be willing to be criticized. And I'm not. How many of these do you want?
How many do you want to share?
I don't know. They all there's a lot on the surface. I've been working hard and shaking myself down. And it's exhilarating. It's exhilarating to move quickly through life and to make big decisions and move mountains. I like moving mountains.
But expressing these needs didn't take you long at all.
That's what I'm saying is all these needs have been shaken to the surface by a month's worth of major ripping and tearing and self-examination. And every day I notice that I'm repeating a fairly common list that I've noticed. I mean, a new home is a primal thing. I need to be with people that I feel comfortable with. I need to be able to eat food that tastes good. I need to feel energetically at home. And these things they're almost within my reach, and I didn't realize. I want to say how strung out I was. That's not accurate, but it gives the flavor. So for fear of being wrong and moving to a place that didn't make sense, I waited until it's an overwhelming need, and so it moves very quickly. And then you think back and do the card shuffle. How many years did you wait, and could you have done it sooner? And I don't know. I think I was meant to wait just this long and do exactly what I've done. I feel like I'm ready to bloom. And it's scary, and I want to do it.
Why is this scary?
I don't have a model. I don't have any history. I've never seen the kind of woman I want to be. It's as if my bravery is due to running out of options. I tried to be the other models, and it's not so much bravery as a tinge of desperation. It is bravery, but I tried to run away first. And it's a feeling of fragility. Oh, it's cramped.
Can you allow your need for movement to connect to your waiting to bloom in this moment?
No, they're both happening at once. I created I created the roller coaster thing where once you've left the track, you're in it. You're in it. I'm in it. And I see the devices by which I try to stop, and we laugh and throw them away. Say, we're joking. Yeah, we're joking, sweetheart. We can't do this. No, you. I had a friend when I was going down once a week. I would stay with her. And after 3 weeks, I said, I think next time I can stay with so-and-so and relieve you of the burden. And she says, what burden? I thought, boy, you said it, kid. You foot's right in there. And she chewed me out for that and said, no, you will stay because you're not a burden. But I noticed I said it instead of simply making other plans and informing her. I gave it away first. So I'm tripping myself up real well.
But you're also seeing. You're also seeing how
Yeah.
you trip yourself.
Seeing straight through, yep. It's fun. It's fun.
How do you feel right now?
I don't know what this is. I know what this is. We have isometric stuff inside where part of me is saying, are you out of your mind? And take that back and get back. And that one's over here. And the underside is squishing outside. That's it. Coming out. You can't see it. And I keep hearing my mother's voice saying, when are you going to grow up? And I'm going to say, never. I'm never growing up. I'm never growing up. Never growing up. And that gets rid of it, only it's down here now. So it's not here.
You just released it. Why don't you try finding out what the voices are down here?
It's just displacement. It's just like it wanders. It's hard to let go of fear. It's hard to let go of old habits. So it just kind of I see it visually. I see it splittering off like water paint on a piece of wax paper. Just kind of goes sideways and it comes back and it joins up. You can get rid of man or mercury. I don't mind that. It's okay. I don't think we get rid of it all at once. I'm glad it's identified. I'm glad I know it's not me. bet you I've got this on tape. I bet you I've got a tremendous amount of shadow on tape. So I may be done. I'm willing to do it. I think I'm done.
Okay, great, thanks.
Lost my
Paper here.